You know that this will have been the thumbnail. Hey, thank you for clicking. But look, before we get into the video, this is not a satisfying roof cleaning video. This is purely for roof cleaners already, and it's more of an information video because I'm going to be going through all my kit and trying to modify it and enhance it and just tweak it in certain ways that are going to make my future roof cleans much easier, much more efficient and quicker and all that. I've made some big changes in this video. I've got a roof clean tomorrow, and sad to say I'm kind of looking forward to it because I think these changes are going to make a big difference. It's modifications to existing things like poles, and I made up a little spray system for getting the Biocide on without some of the negative effects that you might normally see. So I'll try and edit it down as much as possible because I do like to waffle. But I hope you get a lot of information out of this, and if you've got any questions and stuff, please stick them in the comments, because I will, you know, at this stage with my couple of subscribers, I will probably answer all questions, or if you think I'm doing something it could be done a bit better, let me know, because I'm still trying to learn. Otherwise, enjoy and take notes. So I had loads of little things lately coming up which I just don't care about the night before. I just think, let's get the van packed and let's just crack on with it. And then when the moment comes, it absolutely destroys me, because if I'd have just taken some time the day before, I could have prepped and got things ready better, got my systems better, got my processes better, and it would have made things a heck of a lot easier, heck of a lot quicker, more efficient. So let's have a little look at the things I'm going to do. So one of the major problems I had last week, I was getting up and down on the scaff tower because I lost the remote to my remote control plug socket. Now somebody asked me in the comments which plug socket do I use. That, I think I've bought it 3 times now. It's really good. It's like a tenner on Amazon, maybe with a delivery. Got my cool trusty hat. Had my little one wearing that today as he was doing some weeding in the village. Right, what are the other things? Okay, so one thing always bugs me, I can't see in the van with these on, is when I'm up on a roof and I've got this out and extended, if I want to just get down off the scaffold to do something, I want to obviously leave this in situ on the roof, but there's always the risk that the thing can slide down. So I want to have a little think about something I can do to just keep this safe up on the scaffold. I either want to be able to hang it from this end onto things, or do I want to put a stopper down at that end so that the back end of it can rest on my scaff tower? And I've got to think about which one of those two. They'll both work in their own way, but which one is going to be more problematic. So if I'm going to go with this idea, all I can do is try it and see. I think I like to have the clips on the upside anyway. I don't want to be working with a great big hook underneath. Yeah, I think that'll help. So, one thing I had was the Mossmatic. The arm had a little bit of wobble in it. So, if you've got a Mossmatic, you get a 12mm spanner. Mossmatics have a little cap there, and it's an anti-clockwise thread to unscrew it, so just normal. Boom. Break it. Inside there's a slot for an Allen key. If you don't know what an Allen key is, one of these. Find the one that fits. I think for me it was that. Let's have a look. No. Yeah. Okay. Drop it in there, and then you hold on to the Allen key, and you turn this. I think if you turn it anti-clockwise, you'll loosen it, and if you hold this and turn the arm clockwise, you'll tighten it. You'll work it out. I've got it just right now, so I'm not going to compromise it. What size was that? 5, whatever that means. If that's a 5mm Allen key, because it's like imperial and metric, so I think that's 5mm Allen key to sort out the wobbly arm on the Mossmatic. Other things it could be though, it could be that your bearings have gone in here, in which case you might need a new swivel head. And they're pretty dear, but try and rule it out first by, see, that doesn't wobble so much now. I could make it tighter, but the tighter you make it, the more wear it could potentially have on the bearings inside. So anyway, try giving that a little tighten. So that was one problem I fixed. A big killer for me at the moment, it's Biocide. And I used to I used to fire it on with literally with a hose pipe, and yeah, it was crazy effective for getting it in. It got it all under the tiles and in the gaps and everything. It was amazing, but there was a lot of surface runoff. I'm going to pull these down. Getting used to these glasses. There was a lot of surface runoff, and you know, obviously you got to like disconnect the drains. You got to or block the drains up. You don't want it going into the water supply, because I didn't know this until recently, but that surface water runoff actually eventually feeds into rivers and streams. I used to think it all just went to the treatment works, and you know, it gets recycled and along with all the, you know, human waste, and then we end up drinking it. But no, it turns out it goes into all the rivers and stuff. So that's why when you see the dead fish on the sides of these Biocide containers, yeah, it's literally what you're doing if you pour it into the drains. So don't do that. So brushing is obviously much more cost effective, and you know, you're completely minimizing the amount that could come anywhere near the gutters, let alone going into the drains. But it takes forever, and it's pretty tough to do actually, because you haven't always got the ladder access to do it. And I'm not setting my scaffold tower up again and collapsing it and building it again to go all the way around a house that I've just cleaned. I'm not. I do it off the ladder, and it needs to be done relatively quick. So I've got to come up with a way. I'm thinking of going back to spraying, but doing it with just a fine spray, like a fan jet, okay, that I can slowly go across the tiles, and it doesn't, there's not so much volume of it that it starts running down the tiles. I'm literally just spraying it on, because also I do like the penetration aspect of the spray. So I'm going to have a think today of what nozzle, what end attachment I can put onto, say, my Renegade pole. If I run the window cleaning line up it, and if I have a little like angled nozzle on the end of it, and maybe I could rig it up so that I can still remote control from the top of the ladder and just spray it on, and it'll speed things up. And I think it will be a really good way of getting that chemical under the tiles and into the cracks, because I do prefer the method of spraying, if I'm honest. Does it connect? Yes, it does. What a fine mist. Let's try that other head, assuming it's one for this. That's the one. That is the one. Got another one. When I take my extension poles for the vacuum up in the air, I need a way to keep them up there without putting them in the gutters or hoping they won't roll off the roof. I need to come up with a little something that I can do to keep them up there with me. I thought about putting a little hook on every one, so maybe I could hang it off the ladder. I think I might go with that. Huh. let's look at that one. There's one more thing, one big thing that bothers me when I'm drawing Biocide chemical, and I have the tube going into the drum, but for some reason it always wants to curl back on itself. So like usually when I'm about halfway through the drum, it starts just drawing air. So I thought, well, maybe the bit that goes in the drum can be solid. Hey, that bit I cut off the thing earlier, maybe I could use that. This is what I'm talking about. Just tilt that camera. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. So when I drop this into here, quite often it wants to coil back on itself, especially like if I'm pushing it all the way down. So I don't like that. Oh, you can't make this up. You can't make this up. That is incredible. I will snip that. I'll do it now. Okay, so now that it's all the way drawing every last little bit from the bottom, and this is a lid now. Like, look, I can bring several of these made up already. Obviously these are old hypo 5-gallon drums, so I keep you know, I'll keep about 3 or 4 of them, so I can pre-mix the Biocide chemical and bring it. Now that's just water right now from when I just did that spray, but I could drop that into any of these. So that's right. I think I'm going to call that a day with the prep. I don't know what I'm going to do with the vac. I'm not even sure what I can do to make that better. I've got the remote control for that. Yeah, maybe I've sorted the vac already. Alright, I'm going to call it there then. Really beneficial hour I think I've spent on this. So I've got my spray system better. I've got my, how can I say this without it sounding bad, I've got my suction system better. Biocide. Yeah, I got the vacuuming better, the spray system better, the suction system better, the poles better for the vacuum cleaner, and I fixed my Mossmatic rotary arm. Yeah, so bring on tomorrow's roof clean. I'm not going to get it done in a day, I know that, but I just hope it'll give me a less stressful day. Other areas I could improve on, maybe something to do with the clear up down below. I'm sure there's plenty of areas where I can, like I did see on another video, a young lad had laced the whole area down below with landscaping membrane, which is a really good idea because it lets the water go through, albeit it's probably muddy water, but it doesn't matter, it's easy to rinse muddy water, but it's catching all the moss, and I think that's a really good idea. So maybe if you factor that into the bill to get a couple of rolls of cheap as you like, cheap membrane fabric, you know, landscaping fabric, that could really pay off. But the more work you put into that prep, you are going to pay infinite amount of dividends on the other end, I promise. So get all your kit squared away as possible, everything's working, everything's as efficient as it can be, get your processes just proper squared away. It can be a really fun job. It can pay off, and it can pay. Right, this was more for roof cleaners, I suppose, than casual viewers. Hope it's been massively informative for roof cleaners. Please ask any questions, and I will answer at this stage, because I've got about 3 subscribers. So at this stage, I'll answer everyone's comments and questions and stuff. Or if you think there's something I'm doing that, oh, you know, he's doing it wrong, don't hold back, you know, because I'm trying to learn and I'm trying to get better. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.